eyes lit this town like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down. Can't be afraid to leave this out. We got this far, don't know how. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain tonight. We're gonna let it rain tonight. We're gonna let it rain just like the sunrise. We're gonna let it rain. Just like a spark that's breaking out. Can't make a stop, can't turn back now. We know that there's no room for doubt. No, we can't turn back now. I see danger in your eyes. They know we'll burn down the night. Coming just like the sunrise. You know that we're gonna let it rain tonight. We're gonna let it rain tonight. We're gonna let it rain just like the sunrise. We're gonna let it rain.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome to the third portion of our live for today. But no, just kidding. If you are new to the channel, hi, hello, my name is Tanya, or you can call me TitaniumBuilt, whichever's easier for you. Welcome in and welcome back to everybody that's coming in and joining us for another live. I appreciate it so much. If you would like to hit the like button, that would really help your girl out. I would appreciate that very much. And we'll see who's in the chat, and we'll give it a couple minutes because it is a different time than what I usually come on. So we'll see if the alert even went out for anybody, because it literally, I just said it. So it's been a crazy day today. If you missed the court hearing, you missed a lot. We streamed a little over 7 hours or something like that. And I wasn't going to come back on for tonight, but then I ate some food and I was like, I feel like I need to come back on, because we always do our night live. I don't know. It's just weird not being on here. So I was talking to Mary Beth whenever we first got in. So, and thank you for gifting out 5 memberships, Mary Beth. That's so thoughtful. Thank you. And whoever got them, Mary Beth gifted them. Someone asked earlier who gifted a membership. And I think I named the right one, but I don't know if it goes to your email and tells you who gifted it to you. I can't remember. I haven't been gifted one in forever. I turned my gifts off. I always feel like I don't know. I always feel like I need to, if I want to become a member, I want them to know that I became a member because I wanted to be a member. And that's just because I'm a creator. That's all. So hello, Ladybug. Hey, Cat K. Everyone was probably like, is she going to come on tonight? Maybe she will, maybe she won't. Hey, Sailor. Welcome back. Hey, Ivy. Welcome in. Hey, Donna. Yeah, you did come in. Hey, Triple L. Welcome in, everybody. It's good to see you guys. Willow's is here. I had a video to show you guys, and I was like, I want to watch it. It's not very long, and I figured it'd be like a short, cute live. Hey, Karma. Welcome in. If I missed you guys, I'm sorry. It's me. It's not you. I always feel like I'm going to miss someone. Hey, Bill and Loba. Well, you was in and out earlier. Yeah, wild today. Oh, so the second live was a lot of he didn't give us a lot of decisions, but it was a big day today. It was a big day. They went over so much stuff. My brain was hurting by the end of the, like, Ann Taylor can talk her way around circles and here and there and everywhere, and she's not the only one. But I was just like, for the love of God, can we get to the point? Thank you, Ladybug. I appreciate that. I did my hair whenever we were on the live. I was going to turn the camera on. I was like, I should turn the camera on to a little get ready with me, but I didn't do makeup. So I did this spray makeup. So I don't want to lie to y'all and like say I don't have any makeup on, because I do, but just a little bit. My sprayer was dead. The battery ran dead, so I haven't used it so long. Hey, Southernish, I was thinking of you today. Well, don't reply. Don't drop your phone in the bathtub. That would be. She used to be my best friend. I miss her. She's kind of like my mom. She used to take baths all the time. Just reminded me. Because she would always have her phone and be talking on it. She just didn't care, but she'd always be like in the bathtub anytime she was at home. It's like we took on all this info and then if they just discuss it with, yeah, that's kind of like, I kind of let you guys, I was like, see ya after the live, but I was like, I got to get here for a second. Hey, Brian. Hey, Crafty. I needed to stretch a little bit, which I had my standing desk in the closet now, which was great. But the downside to it's a portable one that I can like walk around with. It's the same brand as this desk, this other portable or standing desk I have. But I can't slide my walking pad underneath of it because there's the bar. So I was like, oh, that kind of stinks. Because I'm like this one that has two legs, on the side. I can put it right underneath it there. But I didn't want to. I was all over the place in here today. I was in the blue chair. I was everywhere. Hey, Wolf, welcome in. I think I was the couple. I didn't say hi to you. Hey, Crafty. Hey, Wolf. Hey, Taylor is wild. She's so wild. Get to the tucking point. Huge long day. I woke up at 6 p.m. New York time, and court was still going on. Yeah, a lot of people were like, "When's this over?" And I'm like, "Oh, they're 2 hours behind." But 2 hours is better than 3. We were working with 3 hours behind. So I found this article and I have notes that I wrote down too that like they're actually in my phone, I think. No, they're on the computer. I wrote down some notes from everything that was going on, everything that went on today. Let me see if I can find the notes that I wrote down. Are you kidding? Is it going to be like that? No, okay, I found them. I'm like, I have like a note, like the notes thing, like when you're like on iPhone, you have it, like one of those, like it's just they're not in any order. But we'll go over what I wrote down and then we'll go over the article. How about that? That's what we'll do. So okay. So I try to put them in order, and I didn't get some of them I didn't get, but for the most part I got like the gist of the hearing. But they said this was one of the things that they said that we didn't know prior to today. Like we all kind of figured that Maddie was the target. And we kind of got like more evidence, I guess, of that today because the prosecution did say that Maddie had no defensive wounds. So the defense brought up the DNA, the 3 hits of the 3 different DNAs underneath Maddie's fingernails. And they were trying to say, that it was not Bryan Kohberger's DNA. And the prosecution was saying, well, it was inconclusive. But they are saying that it's not Bryan Kohberger's, and they're not trying to introduce it into evidence as Bryan Kohberger's, but that she had no defensive wounds. So she more than likely was asleep or was blitzed, but she had no time to even grab and try to claw. And if she did, you know, he might have been wearing something to where his skin wasn't showing. I'm sure he was wearing long sleeves of some sort. I mean, that would be the smart thing to do. But she had no defensive wounds. Now we know that Kaylee and Xana did. We haven't really heard about Ethan though. But if he doesn't, then I'm telling you that Bryan had to have used something like pepper spray or something to take him down to get him to like be not at his full capacity, you know? Because I don't think a few beers would do that to Ethan. He's a big boy. Like, you know, I think that he'd sober up real quick seeing his girlfriend, you know, getting unalived. But they did say that you can't use the word sociopath or psychopath, which I don't think they were really planning on using those words, but the defense wanted to make sure that everyone knew we're not going to be using them words. The video of the traffic stop is in. So they want to show how Bryan interacted with the police. And I also think that this is a traffic stop that was done closer to the King Road home. And I think it was in like the middle of the night. So I think it was like late at night, this traffic stop was. Can't wear shirts that are pro-death penalty, you know, can't have any of that. Touch DNA is allowed to be used through the experts. They're allowed to use the word touch DNA. They can't, Judge Hippler said we can't just take all the people's vocabulary that are experts that use this vocab. They still use these words. So he said as long as it's used through the experts, he told the prosecution and the defense, try not to use that word, you know, those words. But if you do, we're not going to be calling a mistrial pretty much, he's saying. No ruling on the eyewitness and the eyebrows, the bushy eyebrows, and with Dylan's eyewitness testimony. They really just try to discredit her today. And, you know, Anne kind of did a decent job at it, you know, I mean, saying how much she had to drink and everything. I still think that if you're intoxicated and you see a stranger in your home, I think that's going to sober you up really quick. I think that's going to like at least put you into a different mindset than what you were prior to seeing the person. Do you know what I mean? Whether that's like trauma phase and maybe you don't remember a whole lot because you're going through trauma. I don't know, but I think that the alcohol probably would have wore off. But she did drink a lot. They said that she had mimosas to start out the day. Like she was like, when I was her age, right around her age, like right her age now, this would have been me. Mimosas in the morning. And then she had some beers because the game, I think it was a day game. So then they like went to the game, she had some beers, or had some beers, you know, at a friend's house or wherever they were watching the game. And then later on that evening, she was playing some sort of like a beer game, but they were drinking like hard liquor. Like it was a mixture liquor. I don't know what it's called. I can't think of the name of it. We used to do Harry Buffalo, where you put like the fruit in there with like the rum or whatever it was. I don't know what it was, but it was good. And we drank it and it gets you drunk. You just eat the fruit and drink the liquor as you're eating the fruit. Did anyone else drink that? Am I the only one? That was very popular back in the day. But that's kind of what what it is now, but it's something else. Like it's just like hard liquors. I don't know. Baby girl, it was great. I loved it. You put like some things I wouldn't eat, like because like they put bananas and stuff in there. And I don't want no banana, but like the grapes and stuff were good. Now I'm about to make some Harry Buffalo. I forget what it's made out of. I don't think it's rum. It might be vodka. I don't know. Moose juice. Is that the same thing? Sporati? Man, we all got different names for this. The stuff that we drank. That's pretty funny though. Not much of a rum drinker. I drink Pepsi though. What else did they say? The 911 call, much of it is going to come in, but not all of it. He said he'll let us know which is going to come in, which is going to be redacted later. The DM phone records and testimony between the two roommates, he said he needs to go through those message by message to see if they need to be redacted. The 3D scale, which Ann Taylor calls the AKA dollhouse, which I think she's like undermining it by saying that. And if I was the judge, I'd probably say something about that. Like, come on now, Anne. You know what I mean? Like, that's a cheap dig, but whatever. The FBI is making this. It's going to be a really nice replica of the home. It's going to give the jury at least an idea of where everything is. I mean, they don't have to have the furniture in there. They don't need to have all of that. As long as it has the bedrooms, it has the layout, that's all that the jury really needs to know. I mean, they can't do a jury view to do sounds and acoustics and all that. Maybe the FBI did those kind of things. We don't know, but they may not have even needed to, you know, I don't think they probably even needed to do that. So the 3D scale, it says we'll have to see if the jury can see it and should be finished in 10 days. And they did say that it's allowed at trial. So they said that the jury can't take it back with them, though, whenever they go back there to do like, to see if like Bryan's guilty or not guilty. I can't think of the word, to go back there and debate. But alibis, they are going to give one, they said, a partial alibi. The whole alibi thing, I am so damn confused about the alibi. Just give us something. Like, he has no eyewitnesses. He's supposed to have an eyewitness to the alibi if he's going to use the alibi defense at trial. That's what he was going to use at trial, is that he wasn't even in the area. Remember, he's driving around, but he has no eyewitness. He has no one to corroborate his story. And so that's where it's going to be laughable almost when we get to trial if he has nobody to corroborate anything that he says, and he's like, well, I was just out driving around and I'm autistic now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's really what we've learned in 2.5 years. Like, we haven't learned anything about an alibi and nothing about his alibi. I can't remember what they said about the AT&T records. I think that they are in, and then the Amazon click history, and that's in. So that's what I know. I know, right? Yeah, the alibi and autism are as much as he is. Let me think of her name. Right. Because Elisa Massive is the prosecutor. Let's see, defense team. And then Bricka Barlow is the new one. Does anybody know her name? I'm trying to see if I can look it up, but I can't find her. I can't think of it. Just as like talking about Bricka Barlow. Let's see. Maybe I look in here. No. I just talked about Ian Taylor. We need to know the other people's names. And then Jay Logston was there, but they took him out. Like, I know everybody's name but hers. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, they're not even like putting it anywhere. Maybe it'll be in this new one we're gonna read over. Hopefully it will be. Oh, is the defense massive? Then okay, then it is Elisa Massive. I couldn't remember. I thought it was she was for the okay. It was a bizarre case today. Oh, also, have you guys heard of the case of Miranda Corset? It's new, and y'all, it's nuts. Like, this little girl, 16 years old, was tortured by 6 people, and no, 6 people knew that she was being captive and tortured by like her parents, I believe. I've been like trying to like look over it, and I'm just like, what is going on with this? Like, yeah, it's crazy. There are 2 people that have been charged with her murder, but there's a 25-page affidavit, And what they did to her is just like, oh my gosh, it's like, what? So we might go over that tomorrow. I mean, it's like, what? I mean, like, what is, I mean, I was reading, I always look at Nancy Grace just to see like what she'd be doing. And she had played a video on it. And so I was like, who is this girl? Right. And so I started looking at like other, sources and other like music things. And yeah, it's something else. Let me tell you, it's something else. So I have the video for us tonight to watch. We're going to watch this video on Bryan Kohberger. It's called like, who is Bryan Kohberger? It's trying to think of his name, Brian Enton. So where find everything? Oh, it's all back here. Okay, that's fine. I'm not prepared. I have them all pinned, but that's okay. We're gonna start with this anyway. But yeah, it's who is Bryan Kohberger, background information, and it looked really good. I was watching some of it earlier. So this is going to tell us what happened today, just in case anybody missed any of the court proceedings. We did stream them on the channel. But I want to just go through this and see if it's different than, my notes. But University of Idaho murder suspect Bryan Kohberger returned to court on Wednesday for a high-stakes hearing to decide what evidence will be allowed at his trial, which is set to begin in August. And it's still set to begin in August. Anne is not going to get her way and get any more time. Judge Hippler, no, he's not doing that. The use of particular language was a major point of contention in the hearing. Judge Stephen Hippler agreed to the defense's request to ban the words psychopath and sociopath from the trial. Sorry, trying to put my glasses on. The defense asked what the phrases touch DNA and contact. Okay, sorry. The defense asked that the phrases touch DNA and contact DNA be excluded, arguing that it's misleading and can be misunderstood by a jury. Hippler said he was not inclined to police phraseology and noted the concern that if a banned word is accidentally used in the courtroom, it could result in a mistrial. Hippler encouraged counsel to avoid the terms, but said he will not police experts in the field and encourage legal teams to not underestimate the reasonableness and intelligence of jurors. Kohberger's defense team also worked to ensure their client will have the opportunity for physical support from his family during the trial. The judge asked the state to call Kohberger's family members who are witnesses early in the trial so they can sit behind him in the courtroom after they testify. I mean, it's all about when they need them. You know what I mean? Like, it's a flow of things. Like, if you don't need, you're telling a story, I mean, that's all I got to say about it. I think their ability to be here to see the trial is important, Hippler said as Kohberger looked on in a blue button-down shirt. And I believe they should just be allowed to sit in the trial. Let them listen to it. They did it in Alec Murdaugh. They let Buster sit the whole trial inside, and he was a witness. So as long as they can not talk about it when they leave, I don't see the big deal. Kohberger is accused of fatally stabbing Ethan Chapin, Kaylee Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, and Xana Kernodle at the girls' off-campus house in Moscow in the early hours of November 13th, 2022. Chapin, Kernodle's boyfriend, was sleeping over at the time. Kohberger, a criminology PhD student at nearby Washington State University at the time of the murders, was arrested December 2022. He's charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder and 1 count of burglary, and a not guilty plea has been entered on his behalf. The judge said Wednesday that he will allow a 3D model of the home at trial. Among the evidence lawyers argued over on Wednesday was the state's allegation that Kohberger bought a K-bar knife with a sheath and a sharpener on Amazon 8 months before the murders. The murder weapon was never recovered, but prosecutors say Kohberger's DNA was found on the knife sheath left at the murder scene. The defense argued anyone in the family could have made that purchase on Amazon, but prosecutors said they have a witness who will testify it was Kohberger. Well, if it was someone in the family, then who was it? And where is it? Someone's going to ride or die for you like that? Kohberger? I mean, if someone's going to testify, like his sister's going to say, Melissa's going to say, well, we're just going to pick one. Yeah, I bought that K-bar knife and sheath and sharpener. I bought it as a Christmas present or something. I was getting it super early. Well, then where is it? Can you ask the person you bought it for? We need to locate that knife. That's what they're going to do. But I don't think they're going to be able to find the knife. During Wednesday's hearing, the judge noted that the Amazon account was associated with Kohberger and wasn't a family account, and the judge said he will allow Amazon Click experts to testify on behalf of the prosecution. Many arguments have still yet to be ruled on by the judge. One point of contention is the description of the intruder from one of the two roommates who survived the murders. The roommate said in the middle of the night she saw a man with bushy eyebrows walking past her in the house, according to court documents. The defense wants that description banned during the trial. The defense argues the roommate's account lacks credibility, claiming that in interviews with police, she admitted to drinking heavily throughout the day and that she had an absolute lack of certainty. The defense is also pushing for the death penalty to be taken off the table if Kohberger is convicted, arguing that Kohberger has suffered from autism spectrum disorder since he was a child. Has he really? I want to see medical papers for that. Bring him to court. We want to see him. Says since he was a child, so there would be reports of that. Defense attorneys pointed to his flat affect and piercing stare and said his inability to react to pictures might be shown during trial will look like lack of remorse. Well, his flat affect and piercing stare is just normal right now. What else is he supposed to do? Cry? Put his head down? I mean, I don't know. I mean, other than just stare ahead, just look ahead. That's what he does. I mean, he was looking, it looked like he was looking at Brigga Barlow's computer all day today. Like he was trying to look all up on her notes or something. I don't know. I guess that says there's Elisa Massive. So if we cannot let the jury know about his autism, he cannot testify. Defense lawyer Elisa Massive said. Kohberger's alibi is still up for debate. Defense attorney claimed he was stargazing alone the night of the murders and planned to use phone data to corroborate. The judge said he will consider allowing the alibi if the defense can come up with a witness to corroborate Kohberger's whereabouts. Otherwise, Kohberger will be the only one who can testify on his behalf. Bam. Do you think that Kohberger would testify? I don't think he would. I don't think he would. I don't think he has the balls to. I don't think he has the guts to. I don't think he could do it. I think one glare from Steve Gonzalez would probably put him on the floor. If he had that mutton chop, full man chew. When Steve has the facial hair, he means business, in my opinion. So that was what kind of happened today. It was a wild ride. It really was. Okay. Let's see what should we do first. We'll watch this and then we'll read through these little article things I have. I'm just going to refresh this page because it's been a minute since I was on there. Okay. And thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate it. If you don't mind, take a second, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit all the buttons. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Susan. Didn't Ted Bundy what? I bet, but I'm going to say probably. Hey, Marisol. We were talking the other night, and I said I would be the one to help Ted Bundy, Oh, you dropped your suitcase or your briefcase. Let me help you, sir. Thanks, Michael. We do have a good chat here. And the mods are awesome. Baby girl Brian takes the stand. I will fall out of this chair. Because he didn't even say that he wouldn't even say he was not guilty. You know what I mean? He wouldn't even stand up to say that. We barely heard from him. We've heard a couple yes, and that's about it. No, maybe a couple no's, but other than that, we haven't heard anything from this guy. So this is on the CW. I haven't been able to watch this. I think it's on once a week, but I don't know if they go over Bryan Kohberger once a week. I think they just go, or once a month, maybe. I'm not sure, but it's Brian Etten, and he does news for them. But we'll pause it here and there for commentary, and I'll rewind it back a little bit. Okay. But thank you for being here. I appreciate it, guys. All right. And I'll turn the volume up a little slowly too, so it doesn't hurt your ears.
A Washington State University campus officer checked for white Elantras on campus and identified a white Hyundai Elantra at a certain apartment. The car was investigated and determined to belong to a graduate student there named Bryan Kohberger.
Bryan Kohberger was a PhD student in criminology at Washington State University.
Investigators made multiple inquiries about Kohberger and gathered some additional background information.
He was also a TA known for being an incredibly punitive grader. Everyone kind of hated him, especially the women in his classes. He had a tendency to, I think someone described it as like mansplaining.
Police also learned that he'd been involved in a traffic stop. It was a month earlier, and it was captured on the body camera of a WSU campus police officer.
Hello, I am Officer Loangus. Stops being audio and video recorded.
Kohberger is pulled over by a female police officer in Pullman, Washington for essentially running a red light. And what you see is somebody who's not intimidated to interact with a police officer in a somewhat exhaustive way.
Yeah, think about that for a minute, you know, with the autism spectrum disorder and everything that he's saying that he has now. I think that he acts pretty darn coherent. He's there, he's aware. He's not, I don't think he's overly talkative, but he's asking questions. I mean, I don't know. I don't think that he's doing anything necessarily wrong. I think he's just asking a lot of questions, which is perfectly fine.
And the red light.
What actually happened was I was stuck in the middle of the intersection.
Yeah,
so
I was behind you the whole time. Yeah.
He keeps repeating his position, which is that in the state he grew up in Pennsylvania, that's not a law.
In Pennsylvania, when you're stuck in the intersection, you have to make the left. So what would the appropriate thing for me to have done?
Not
just
You're not supposed to block an intersection like that in Washington. So just by you blocking the intersection, that's technically a ticketable violation.
He's not argumentative with her, but he maintains his position without ever coming around and saying, I shouldn't be getting this ticket.
But in that situation, the best thing to do then would be back up. Not.
I don't know if there's a best thing to do in that situation.
Okay, so I'm going to explain this to you, Bryan Kohberger, if you're listening from your jail cell, okay? When the car that was in front of you pulled up, right, and was in the intersection, you shouldn't have tailed it and went into the intersection also. So when the light turned yellow to turn red, you were far up in the crosswalk. So you decided, I'm just going to go too. We've all done it. We've all done it. But guess who doesn't ever do that anymore? Me. I stop at the crosswalk and everything. Like it ain't gonna get me like Bryan Kohberger. I do every time because I don't know why. I turn left a lot when I go out like my place and I don't like it. And I'm just like, nope, ain't getting me. Ain't getting me.
Has a level of cognitive rigidity. He's got a fixed idea about the situation, about what he didn't do wrong, and he's never able to really pivot from that.
Yeah, where I'm from Pennsylvania, we actually don't have like crosswalks.
Oh.
And even when she says she's going to let him go with a warning, he continues again to try and understand the situation. And what we see is somebody who's having a hard time disengaging.
Never even occurred to me that that was actually something wrong, but well, except for the fact
he didn't know how to be socially appropriate. So with Kohberger, what we know is that he probably had a hard time fitting in.
Because of that traffic stop in October, police in Pullman actually had Bryan Kohberger's cell phone number. They'd already pulled the cell phone tower data from the King Road area in Moscow from the night of the crime. And so even without getting a warrant, they were able to compare the last 4 digits of Kohberger's number with all of the cell phone numbers that pinged on that tower from the time frame of the murder. But they came up empty. And this was really a major setback.
I don't think that Kohberger really had any friends. In high school, he was very overweight. He was bullied. He was remembered as being very creepy toward girls. One thing that Bryan Kohberger had done when he was a teenager, he had posted regularly on this forum for visual snow syndrome.
Visual snow syndrome is, first of all, a neurological condition that is not well understood. people who experience it describe it as seeing white auras or white images that look very similar to static that we would have seen on old-fashioned analog TVs, and it never really goes away. And so as you can imagine, it's not uncommon to find in this population higher rates of depression, higher rates of anxiety and stress responses.
A lot of people who suffer from.
So it doesn't go away. I thought it comes and goes. So visual snow is something that's just always all the time. Well, then I don't think he has visual snow. I thought it was something that comes and goes. I'm going to look into that because we did look into it before, but I thought it was something like, you know, it wasn't like all the time. If this is something like you have all the time, you wouldn't be able to drive a vehicle. I don't even think if you have it partially, like, or if you have it and it's like comes on at different times that you should even be able to drive, right? Because you'd be driving and all of a sudden it's like you got static in your face. That doesn't sound good.
From this, start to see their own life as kind of surreal, almost like they're in a video game.
This posting I'm looking at is from Kohberger as a teenager on a forum for visual snow syndrome. And this is July 5th of 2011. He writes, "It is as if I am playing a role. I feel like an organic sack of meat with no self-worth as I am starting to view everyone as this.
I searched for someone to relate to me, and everyone looks down upon me. No one can relate. When I feel slightly calm, it gets hard to breathe, and I see bright dots in my vision. Nothing I do is enjoyable. I am blank. I have no opinion. I have no emotion. I have nothing." There is a deep sort of self-loathing in Bryan that he sort of starts at this point in time to direct into the world around him.
This is somebody who is in a level of psychological crisis, but also there's a malaise about it.
Digging into his past, we find no evidence of Kohberger having relationships, and there were really only a few awkward encounters that he had with women.
He went on a Tinder date with a college student, and it was very, very bizarre. A woman came forward saying that they were watching a Netflix movie in her room, and then she was uncomfortable. She got up to go to the bathroom. He followed her to the bathroom, and she didn't know what else to do, so she pretended to throw up and made like throwing up noises until finally he left. And he texted her later telling her that she had like really nice birthing hips. He has a history of sort of misogynistic behavior.
Most guys, I would feel like they wouldn't just leave, right? Like, if you're like a true gentleman, right? You would maybe knock on the door and say, "Are you okay? Do you want me to leave?" Or like something, not just like, "I'm going to peace out because she's getting sick and I'm not going to get any tonight," or something. I don't know. I mean, maybe some guys would do that, but I don't know. I just don't see like good guys doing that. Like I see, like, why would he just peace out and then text her? Like, if he was that adamant about going up to her apartment, I don't know. Weird, very weird.
Once police started looking into Bryan Kohberger, the more they learned about him, the more intriguing he became as a potential suspect.
When Bryan Kohberger turned out to be a criminology student, that added an entirely new layer to the story. He ended up going to community college and sort of developing a really intense interest in murder. and that sort of carried him into grad school and beyond. He studied under a very, very prominent professor who's a serial killer expert, and I think that might have fascinated him. But he was known academically for having an interest specifically in crime scenes and DNA.
In the case of Kohberger, he obviously took it a step further by trying to obtain a doctorate degree in criminology. It's hard to know what his motivation and perspective was, but given how this individual seems to have a high need for specificity, for precision, while we don't know for sure, and it's speculation, it's not unreasonable to think that what he was really also trying to do was understand how to commit a perfect crime.
By the second week in December, even though they had cell phone tower data which failed to place him at the scene of the crime, authorities, they were still keeping close tabs on potential suspect Bryan Kohberger. This was as the fall semester was coming to a close.
He made plans to drive across the country home to Pennsylvania for winter break. His dad flew out to make the drive with him.
I suspect that there was some type of physical surveillance involved, if not for the full trip, then at least a good portion of the trip.
They were stopped a couple times by police in Indiana.
He was right up on the back end of that van, pulled you over for tailgating. Is this your car? Okay, cool. Where are you headed?
Well, it's a strange exchange. Bryan seemed to avoid saying where they were really headed.
People theorize that the police who made these stops were aware of who he was and had intelligence about his connection to a possible crime.
Perhaps there was a reason why they wanted to slow him down, maybe for surveillance to catch up with him. Perhaps it was also to see what was going on inside the vehicle.
Well, do me a favor, don't follow too close, okay?
Officers never ticketed Kohberger for any traffic violations, and they let him go.
Upon arrival in Pennsylvania, authorities were keeping an eye on Kohberger as a person of interest.
DNA extracted from the knife sheath found at the crime scene didn't yet point to one particular individual, but it helped investigators establish a family profile.
If they only do have that touch DNA and that one piece of genetic evidence, they are going to need other evidence to help back that up and tie a suspect directly to that crime scene. They have to collect DNA directly from that individual and compare it against the court admissible genetic profile.
At the time, Bryan Kohberger was staying at his parents' house in a gated community called Indian Mountain Lake.
The first thing they look to do is retrieve discarded household trash.
But once Kohberger was in Pennsylvania, he was, according to the police, super hyper vigilant about not leaving prints anywhere. He wore gloves everywhere he went.
How someone acts after a crime could be argued to be relevant if it suggests consciousness of guilt. Why would somebody be wearing gloves when they're putting out the garbage or cleaning their car? Is it because they're trying to eliminate certain fingerprint evidence or anything that could be tied back to them?
Unfortunately for him, his parents were not being as hyper vigilant. So police were able to get the family's trash.
They pulled that DNA from Bryan Kohberger's parents' house and it didn't match the suspect. Well, there's two males in this home that we know of, right? There's Bryan and his father. This is male DNA. Let's run a paternity comparison. And they got the match then. They apparently got his father's DNA. Now, because his father is a first-degree relative, they can still use that STR profile.
That was the final straw. Investigators at that point were 99.9998% certain they had the right guy.
99.9998% out of the whole population. That it would not be Bryan Kohberger, pretty much the offspring of Michael Kohberger.
While investigators were following the DNA trail in Pennsylvania, police in Idaho were still troubled by that cell phone tower data from the night of the attack. But now they had enough other evidence to apply for a search warrant for Kohberger's full cell phone tracking data.
Bryan Kohberger's cell records were a treasure trove of information. Wouldn't you know, Mr. Kohberger's phone was turned off at 2:47 a.m. the night of the murders. It also revealed that the phone was turned back on and traveling from Idaho back into Washington after 4:30 a.m. Now, why would someone turn off their phone at 2:30 in the morning only to turn it back on at 4:30?
Anytime somebody turns off their phone, it suggests that they're trying not to be picked up by communications networks during that particular time.
Prior to the murders, a continued examination of Bryan Kohberger's cell phone revealed that on 12 separate occasions, Mr. Kohberger's phone is found in the area of King Road, essentially in the middle of the night. Was he stalking our young victims? Was he preparing to commit the crime? See, I look at that in those 12 occasions, and then I look at November 13th and I say that occasion was different, because when he left his house that 13th time at 2:47 a.m., he shut his phone off. Why? I think it was game on at that point.
It was time to act.
A SWAT team rushed from the forested area around the house and surrounded it, broke the front window. The sounds of shattering glass and breaking wood.
He was found to be awake in the residence. A SWAT team from the Pennsylvania State Police, in coordination with federal authorities, served that arrest warrant.
For a lot of people, there was sort of a sweet sense of justice. He's charged with murdering them in the dead of night.
He was wearing all black when they caught him. Black socks, black pants, black underwear, black t-shirt, black sweatshirt. He was in dark colored clothing. He was sneaking over to the neighbor's, trash, gonna go put his trash in there. Can you imagine doing that? I'd be afraid the neighbors would catch me.
Right? While these kids.
Wonder if the neighbors had cameras. Oh my God, that would be perfect.
Felt safe in their bedrooms, and in the dead of night, the SWAT team came for Kohberger.
On January 5th, just a few days after the arrest, Kohberger made his first appearance in an Idaho court. I was there on the ground, on the scene to report, and the vibe was very somber. It was really fraught with emotion.
Remember, this is a small town. They don't really deal with high-profile cases like this, even going in the courthouse today. I mean, it's a small courthouse.
You could only imagine the tension in that courtroom as Bryan Kohberger makes his very first appearance to the world. And all you can hear is the sound of his shackles clanging across the floor.
Bryan Kohberger never looked at the victims' families in court Thursday, only looking in the direction of his lawyer and the judge.
Is Mr. Kohberger prepared to plead to these charges?
Your Honor, we will examine the second.
Because Mr. Kohberger is standing silent, I'm going to enter not guilty pleas.
When it came time for Bryan Kohberger to actually stand up and enter a plea, he wouldn't do it. He stood silent. So that forces the judge to just enter a not guilty plea for him. And there are a couple of reasons why a lawyer and a client might decide to do that. One of which is that you have the right preserved to question the mental state of the suspect at the time of the crime. We don't know if that's why they did it, but it's possible.
One thing that was clear after the initial court appearance, this would be a long and drawn out process for the victims' families, and there would be no resolution anytime soon.
I think it's the 21st is his birthday. Oh, what is he doing? What's he doing? Okay. What is this? Is this the same as this one? I don't know. Episode 10. Okay. I don't know. I'll keep that up. I'll listen to it and we'll see if it's new. And then I'll bring it to you guys if it is. So I wanted to go over a little bit more of like who Bryan Kohberger is, because of this whole autism spectrum disorder. Maybe he does have it, and maybe these are signs that he does have it. You know, the interaction with the, or maybe he's just not good with people. That could be it too. I mean, that could be it. There are people out there that are not people. They're not good with people. You know, they're just not. I'm trying to like put this in a good. I'm trying to think about like. There's people out there that like, I don't know, they're just like quieter. They just are, you know, they don't talk a lot, or if they get comfortable, they just talk too much, you know. I think Bryan's the latter. I think he gets excited and he talks a little bit too much. Or maybe he tries to show off a little bit. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know how to take this guy. I really don't. After almost 3 years, I still don't know how to take him because he doesn't open his mouth. So it's all like secondhand accounts. But Bryan Kohberger exhibited bizarre behavior with 2 bikini-clad college co-eds at a pool party, says WSU student. Remember, I forget his name. It should come up in this, but there was a video. Oh, there it is. Bastif Salamajon, something like that. But that's the guy's name. He is the guy that saw him at the Walla Walla, whatever it's called, Walla Trail after this party. So a Washington State University student shared details with his encounter with Bryan Kohberger in a new interview. And this came out like a while back, August 18th, 2023. So Bastif Salamajon, that's how you say it, tells Airmail, a digital media outlet, that in the summer of 2022, he met Kohberger at a pool party being held at the Grove at Moscow, an off-campus apartment complex popular with students at the University of Idaho. Kohberger had been invited to the party by his neighbor at the WSU dorms, Christian Martinez, and that's the guy that Bryan Kohberger's dad said, hey, will you be friends with my kid because he's kind of weird and quiet. I don't think he called him weird. I think he just said because he's quiet. And he was like, okay. This detail was shared by Martinez in a number of interviews after Kohberger's arrest, along with the fact that he invited Bryan after being approached by his father, Michael Kohberger, on the day, he moved his son into the WSU dorm. It's not really a dorm, it's an apartment. I met his dad in the parking lot. He just stopped and started talking to me. Martinez told Law and Crime his dad was wanting to introduce me to Bryan, and he said something, I don't remember the exact word he used to describe him, but he said something like he has a hard time making friends, or he's kind of shy. Once at the party, Kohberger met Salamajon, a friend of Martinez. We are just shooting shit, but we are definitely one serious. Oh wait, we were just shooting the shit, but he was one definitely one serious dude. Salamajon tells Airmail. Nice enough though. When Salamajon got up to talk to a friend, Kohberger made his way to the DJ booth, where he also made an impression. He was asking me about my speakers, all kind of technical stuff, Zach Cartwright tells Airmail. But he had his way about him. You know those people who don't understand personal space. He was one of them. He'd get real close. It was off-putting. Cartwright says he eventually had to dismiss Kohberger, telling him, I'm DJing, man. I'll catch you later. Salamajon soon joined Kohberger by the pool, but the now suspected murderer did not stay long, for according Go, his new acquaintance. Okay, that doesn't make sense. Salamajon watched as Kohberger abruptly jumped up without warning and approached a girl in a black thong bikini and pink hair, and a complex tattoo design on her left thigh. I wonder if this girl is like, oh my God, that's me, you know, like really. We don't know who those 2 girls are. Then Kohberger, after only a brief conversation, asked her for her phone number, and he got it, reports Airmail. Kohberger allegedly did not stop there either. Next, moving on to the woman's friend. Next, as if a man on a mission, he turned to the pink-haired woman's friend, also in a black two-piece, and asked her for her number 2, and he succeeded once again, according to airmail. I wonder if they were the real numbers. Kohberger then left the party, according to Salamajon. The two women later told airmail, that they never heard from Kohberger, but both did say that they received several hang-up calls in the aftermath of the party. I guess they were their real numbers. 4 months later, 4 University of Idaho students would be found dead in an off-campus home just a mile down the road from the Grove. 3 of the victims, Madison Mogan, 21, Kayla Gonzalez, 21, Xander Kernodle, 20, lived in the home. The 4th victim, 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, was in a relationship with Kernodle. Kohberger is now charged with those 4 murders and heading to trial later this year. If convicted, he could be sentenced to death. He is due back in court for a motions hearing. That was for today. It says Kohberger had a previous public defender that he expects to be exonerated. He told a previous public defender he expects to be exonerated at trial. In May, he declined to enter a plea after being formally charged with 4 counts of murder. The judge in the case entered a not guilty plea on his behalf. Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out for you, Bryan. So basically, he walks up to these girls. I mean, and that's ballsy. You know, to be able to have the confidence. Like he had to have walked up to those girls with some level of confidence to get their phone number. You know what I mean? Like if some lanky, weird looking guy came up to me at a party and was like, "Can I have your number?" I would be like, no, you cannot. No, sir. So, I mean, but if someone that came up to me that was like pretty confident, maybe so. Maybe it would persuade me because confidence is key, man. Doesn't matter what you look like, but if you got that confidence in you, it'll put you up a couple of numbers. It could take you from being like a 5 to a 7, you know, real quick. If you're funny, that could take you to a 9 real fast. But the next thing I wanted to share with you was it's about Kohberger in class. It says WSU students, Kohberger spoke up in class except when Moscow killings were the topic. So we'll read over this and then we'll end it out with this article. It's pretty long, I think. Let me see. Yeah. Let me go back up to the top. Okay. So graduate school peers of Bryan Kohberger recall him as actively engaged in their Washington State University criminal justice and criminology program, someone who saw connections while also sharing little about his past in his first semester as a doctoral student. Kohberger, the man charged with 4 counts of first-degree murder in the killings of 4 University of Idaho students, presented a social aptitude with colleagues, making casual conversations between classes. 2 master's students who shared several first-year courses with him told the Idaho Statesman. That lined up with Kohberger's demeanor as the program's orientation last fall, when he was one of the first people to introduce himself to others in their group of 13 incoming students, one of his classmates said. He seemed gregarious and outgoing, and that was really the only impression that I got. Ben Roberts, a criminal justice graduate student, said in a phone interview with the Statesman, he was making the rounds. He definitely seemed a little more eager than some of the others that were present to go around and introduce himself. During class, Kohberger 28 appeared academic-minded and didn't shy away from speaking up, including challenging his classmates, said Roberts, and another master's degree student who the Statesman granted anonymity to answer emailed questions. They're like, you ain't bringing my name into this. Kohberger's enthusiasm for his area of study, understanding the criminal mind, was regularly on display, they said. Bryan only talked about his interest in forensic psychology, the master's student told the Statesman. He was an incredibly strong student and talked during class every time. He sat front and center and was not hiding or tucking back in the back. Roberts said he was right there in the middle of it. As a result, Kohberger's non-participation in a lengthy conversation about the Moscow homicide stands out in retrospect, said the master's student. The person said they had 4 classes with the man now sitting in the Latah County jail, including not Latah County, he's in Ada County, including a courts and legal process class where the killings were discussed before the semester ended the week of December 12th. He was completely silent, Kohberger's classmate said. Kohberger, who faces a felony burglary charge in addition to the murder count, is accused in the November 13 stabbing deaths of U of I seniors Madison Mogan, 21, of Coeur d'Alene, Kayla Gonzalez, 21, of Rathdrum, junior Xana Kernodle, 20, of Post Falls, and freshman Ethan Chapin, 20, of Mount Vernon, Washington. The three women lived together in an off-campus rental house where Chapin was staying over for the night with Kernodle, his girlfriend. Police began looking at Kohberger as a suspect as early as November 29th, according to the 19-page probable cause affidavit unsealed Thursday. Why is this old news up here? Law enforcement arrested Kohberger at his family's home in Monroe County, Pennsylvania on December 30th. Oh, I forgot to grab this. This is an old article. Sorry. I'm like, why is this old? It's because I grabbed an old article. While he visited them over the holiday break from school, he waived extradition last Tuesday, was flown to Pullman, and driven to Moscow to jail on Wednesday, and made his first court appearance on Thursday. Busy week for him. I'm shocked. The WSU master's student told the Statesman, I can't believe this person was around me after they allegedly committed such a horrible crime. Can you imagine being those students, like all those people around him? Kohberger was one of 34 students in Washington State's criminal justice and criminology graduate program. The Statesman obtained the information in a review of the program's website and identified each of the students before the university quickly took it down after the Moscow Police Department announced Kohberger's arrest. We removed the web page containing the listing and contact information for graduate students in the CJC department. The link read Friday, citing privacy protections and directing all media inquiries to a school spokesperson. That's kind of dirty, Idaho Statesman, to be like taking those names and then going and like talking to those people after like they tried to keep their anonymity. Like that's kind of dirty, you know? I'm sorry, but that is. We stand in sympathy with the families of the victims of this horrible crime and remain dedicated to the pursuit of justice. The website previously showed the program compromised 24 PhD students, including Kohberger, and 10 students pursuing their master's degree. Prior attempts by the Statesman to reach members of the program did not receive a response beyond the 2 master's students who agreed to interviews. So out of 34 students, 2 people said they would talk. One of them said, you ain't using my name. Man, nobody wants to talk about Kohberger, you know? Kohberger was listed as an assistant instructor for 3 undergraduate criminal justice courses led by Professor John Snyder, the department's criminal justice club advisor and global director. The university has since removed his name online in that teaching assistant role too. Snyder declined to comment when reached on his cell phone by the Statesman the day of Kohberger's arrest. The department's chair, graduate program director, and 3 of Kohberger's other WSU course instructors also declined Statesman's request for comment, through the university spokesperson. Roberts, one of only 4 men in the graduate program outside of Kohberger, agreed to a few interviews, including with the Statesman. It's a story that's affected people, so I don't know if I kind of want to satiate curiosity, but do that by offering something so people don't speculate as much, he said. In a handful of conversations outside of the classroom with Kohberger, Roberts said that the two talked a little about music and sports, and that Kohberger at one point mentioned he liked to hike. The discussions were just pretty typical icebreaker chats between new colleagues, Roberts said, including how Pullman was much different from the places each of them grew up. In class, Kohberger mostly came off as professional, Roberts said, although he said he was put off when Kohberger began to constantly show himself to be more forceful and condescending with women during seminar discussions. It was hard to see a pattern emerging when you're in the classroom, but he would tend to push back when a female was talking more than a male talking, Roberts said. He was more keen on asking probing questions and things like that. The other master's student said Kohberger talked down to LGBTQ plus individuals, those who are in a marginalized community, those who are disabled, and women. Kohberger, who declared himself someone who believed in traditional marriage, his classmates said. Well, they got to know him a lot if they knew what he wanted in a marriage. So he believed in traditional marriage. I don't know what he's talking about because there's no marriage that's traditional anymore. But what I think he is talking about is the man works and the woman does the housework, like one of those traditional roles. That's what I guess that's what I'm thinking. If you're thinking traditional marriage nowadays, both of people are working and both people are doing home stuff. It seems like more. In another incident, Kohberger's classmate said a colleague hung a Pride Alley flag on the door of their office, and Kohberger became noticeably upset. Kohberger didn't say much about his career goals, each student said, or talked about his master's degree in criminal justice from DeSales University, not far from where he grew up in Eastern Pennsylvania. While at the sales located just southeast of Allentown, Kohberger studied under well-known forensic psychologist Catherine Ramsland, who for one of her books corroborated with serial murderer Dennis Rader, known more widely as the BTK killer. Ramsland did not respond to requests for comments from the Statesman, but confirmed to LehighValleyNews.com that Kohberger was a former student. She declined to further comment. He rarely talked about his past academic history and academic program, the master's student said. I had no idea Bryan had studied under famous forensic psychologists. After the November 13th knife attacks that left 4 undergraduates dead about 9 miles east of Pullman in Moscow, neither student recalled Kohberger with any injuries or behaving in any way out of the ordinary, they said. The master's student who spoke anonymously said they had class with Kohberger on November 15th and don't remember anything that stood out. Once late in the semester, Roberts thinks it was before the Thanksgiving break, Kohberger mentioned to Roberts that he hadn't slept much the night before. I do remember it wasn't the week before or week after the homicides because I think that would have raised an alarm bell in my head, Roberts said. I believe it was right when we had some pretty heavy assignments and I don't think any of us were getting enough sleep. Police said Kohberger made at least a dozen visits to the area near the Moscow rental house where the victims were killed based on cell phone site location data obtained from AT&T in a search warrant, according to the probable cause affidavit. All of these occasions, except for one, occurred in the late evening or early morning hours of their respective days. The document pinned by Moscow Police Corporal Brett Payne read. For Roberts, the allegations against an arrest of Kohberger remain stunning, and he continues to feel a sense of unease. Much has been thrown into disarray, Roberts said, as the WSU department built around educating students why people commit horrific crimes is forced to confront the fact that one of its own now stands accused of perpetuating such an incident. The stories you're reading in the paper, the cases you're reviewing, the studies you're doing, it can be easily to forget that they're connected to real people and it's the real world and real consequences, Roberts said. People lose people and find their kids' bed empty. There's a real heaviness looking at that and realizing and remembering this is not just some sterile academic subject. This is something that affects people. And that's perfectly said. What is that? Oh, I knocked over my this little makeup airbrush thing I have. Okay, so that was all that I had for you. Just a little short live, just a short live, just to, get back in, make sure we're doing our night lives and nobody forgot about us. Everyone was kind of like, what? We were wondering where you were at 9:15. But I did come on kind of late because we did like a 8-hour stream today. Ladybug, Mary Beth had to work, but Ladybug, and I knew Mary Beth would have been here if she didn't have to work, but Ladybug, thank you for sticking with me for all the hours. You were here for all of them. She was hanging out in the chat with me. It was nice. A lot of you guys were here, but I gotta thank them all because they're the best. They're my friends too. Y'all are my friends. Thank you guys for being here today. It really means a lot. It was a lot to go over. They really went over so much stuff in the court proceedings today. I might have to put out like a short video just to go over it again. I mean, we knew about Maddie not having defensive wounds. Like, we kind of knew that. And, this whole time in our head, like, we thought that. But actually hearing it, was something else. It was just something else. I think we're going to be hearing a lot of things that are going to be shocking in the next, few months leading up to the trial. Opening statements are going to be the best. I'm just ready for opening statements. I like hearing opening statements because they usually will tell you kind of like what they're going to do, how they're going to play how they're going to play the cards that they've been dealt, what they've got, their hand. Now they are going to have that 3D model, which Anne is calling the dollhouse. I wonder how much she calls it a dollhouse once the trial's here and she's using it for reference, but we'll see. And I wonder how much it is to scale. Like, they said it's not to scale, but I wonder if it has anything in there. Like, I would put, if it was me, maybe not the furniture, but I would definitely include the string lights. Like, especially if you knew, like, when you went in there and they were on, and the girls said, yeah, they were on. Like, we leave those on, because today the defense was like, we don't know if these were on or if they were off. If you ask Bethany and Dylan, they'll be able to tell you, if those were on. I would put the good vibe sign up, like that I would put up. That way you could, and I would make it somehow to where you could turn all the lights off in that 3D image. And then you could see like, you know, how somebody would walk through it, kind of like what we have, you know, the animation or like the 3D model that we use and we walk around. Like that would be good to use, something like that, because they're going to have to know the layout of this place. This place is like, they just kept building on. I've never really seen anything like this other than when you go out into like the country and you see people put like 2 trailers together, you know, like solder them together. It reminds me of that. When I saw this house, that's what it reminded me of. You know, like people solder those houses together, like put them together. You know, it's like, I'm from the country, so we do what we do. Yeah, she bitched about it. She said, yeah, I signed off on destroying the house. And they had like 7 weeks, 8 weeks in the house to go in and do all the stuff that they needed to do. And the prosecution only used like 7 weeks or something. I forget. We have the exact dates down, and I'm gonna look. They're probably in this book. I have a 3-ring binder full, and then I've got like notebooks just full of notes. I used to take notes for this case. I take them on the computer now, but man. Really, Mary Beth? I didn't know that. I thought that was fun. I like New York. Or you have a puzzle or something? Oh, we've been doing. Okay, I swear, you just remind me. I swear, if he doesn't get this puzzle up out of his house, we'll hang it up. It's gonna be Christmas again. Vincent did a Christmas puzzle. It was my idea. I said, let's do a puzzle. This is me every time. Let's do something. And then I flipped the puzzle up. It's like 500 pieces, I think. 300 or 500 pieces. And Vincent put it all together. He sat there and he put it all together. And I was like, I knew you would, because he can do that tedious stuff. Like I can't just sit there and just, I lose my mind. But he put it together, and so then I was like, okay, now we need to get like a frame for it. It took us like forever to get a frame. We've had it in a frame, and it's just sitting on in our dining room, like against the wall, forever. I'm gonna hang it on the wall. It's gonna be Christmas again before we know it. Thank you, Mary Beth, for giving out the membership. That was very kind of you. Valentine got it. Valentine. That's a cute name. I like that name. That's cute. Well, come on in. She never scared. Yeah, she kept saying that she hasn't went through all the, you know, discovery yet. If that was us, we would have went through it all by now. I have full faith in us. Give it to us, and we'll go through it. We'll tell you what you need, what you don't need. We'll be non. We will. I'll do it. She says she needs about 20 people, 25 or something. I was like, okay, let's get everyone together. I mean, because then we see what it is. We'll tell her the truth. We'll say your client's probably screwed, but you know, we think you know that already. I wonder what Bryan Kohberger's thinking tonight. You know, Kohberger. I do say it with an L. I'm sorry. Your dog's gonna be 70 to 90 pounds. Did you know? Here's my 90-pounder. Oh, she doesn't even look like it right now because she's curled up in a ball. Mia, you look so cute. She's the sweetest. Like, she's the sweetest little girl. She barks at everything. She's the sweetest. She barks at everything. Like, if you're in her line of sight, she's going to bark at you. If you're a baby, sorry about that. If you're, I guess I want to use the right word, like a shorter person. We have like a couple that lives here, and they're shorter people, and Mia likes to bark at them. She just likes to bark. Didn't you get a doodle? Golden doodle? Southern? I want a golden doodle. Someday. They told me 50 at best from the breeder. Oh, that's sweet that your mom and dad treated like their newest grandchild. That's sweet. I'm glad he's feeling a little bit of your heart, you know, like able to do that because it's hard losing a dog. I'm so glad that everything's going okay with Mia. Mariah, she wanted to go out earlier. I was like, okay, be independent then. Bye. Miss Independent. I'm gonna start singing that song to her when I go out there. I say it with an L. So Michael someone was caught after me on my comment section, and then I keep hearing myself, and I'm like, I do. But I just put an L in there. It's just my accent. Like, I know it's Kohberger, but I say Kohberger. And it almost sounds like Kohberger. He's a golden mountain doodle. Man, maybe it's because he's a mountain. Golden mountain. That's probably, you got the mountain part. You probably should have stuck with the golden doodle. Just the regular golden doodle, not the golden mountain doodle. That's probably what it was. Oh, that's cute. They go get him when you're at work. Because then he won't chew nothing, you know? Hey, Bullets and Bling. Our dogs were little chewers. Mia's never been really a chewer. She doesn't even chew toys. Like, she'll hold them in her mouth. She likes socks. Like, she'll grab socks. She'll just hold them in her mouth. Like, she doesn't want you to take it from her. She doesn't want to play with it. She doesn't want you to play, like, you know, nothing with it. She's supposed to hold it. And it's like, okay, you can do that. Araya, though, the other one, she'll chew something. Yeah, if she really wants to. She chewed my first year on YouTube, my first Christmas on YouTube. I can't believe I remember this. I'll remember this to the day I die. I had two gnomes, two of the cutest little white gnomes. They were just like this big. They were so cute. And she chewed one of them. I don't know which. I think it was Vincent. Because one was me and one was Vincent. And she chewed one. I almost cried over that to you guys. I was like, she chewed my nail. I had beads everywhere. And then I got a big gnome. That's when I got the bigger one. The one that stands up. She chewed that thing and I almost cried. She chewed my brand new shoes one day. I did cry over that. They're brand new. They're expensive. Oh, no, you didn't. But, you know, she's my girl. They're my girls. But yeah, Mia doesn't really chew much. She has a toy right there, actually. I don't know. You can't see it. It's like right off the camera. Look at you guys just bringing your stuff in here. I cleaned all in here today. It looked so good from earlier when we were on our live. I was cleaning. I took everything off the desk. I even cleaned the mats. Like, we have these black, like you can see it right here a little bit. It's like a computer mat for your mouse, like a big mouse pad. They're huge. They're like, it's big, but let me go this way. So you can see the tin like that big. Pretty big. Pretty big. Call her Chewy. I should. I feel like I used to call her that. I feel like I have called her Chewy before, actually. I do call her Chewy because Chewbacca. I was like, Chewy, wait, hold on. I do call her that because she sounds like, when she wants to come in somewhere, she makes this noise and it sounds like Chewbacca. Like the noise that he makes. It's what it sounds like. I'll have to record it sometime for you guys and let you listen to it. It's so funny. She'll stand at the door and like because Mia will growl under her breath. So Araya will make these weird noises. And I'm like, Chewy. I know. I'm like, wait a minute. I was like, Chewy. I was like, wait, I do call her that. I do call her that already. That's her name. They never go by their, you get dogs and they always go by their nickname or a cat or any pet. Really any pet. You name them. Most people do that anyway. You name them one thing and then you call them something else. That's what I do. But thank you guys so much for being here tonight. I'm gonna give extra pets to the dogs tonight. I'm gonna go lay with them. We're gonna go hang out and see if Vincent's still awake. He might be sleeping. Poor guy. He had a long couple of days. Oh, better him doing it than me because he's got more patience than I do. It is. The nickname thing is true. I call Mia I call her Mimi. I did that ever since Alex Murdaugh trial. When he started calling people Paw and Mama, and all that. That's Mimi. So, or I'll call her Mia Grace. Like I call her by her first and last, her first and middle name. And then Araya, I call her Araya Lee or Chewy. Or, just my precious girl. I would always tell her she's my precious girl. But yeah. And then Rocky, my cat, I call him Mr. So yeah, and he answers to that. He literally follows me like a dog. I'm like, come on, mister, let's do this. And I'll like wave him like this. I don't snap or like do any noises. I'm just like, come on. He just comes and follows me. He's the best. That name does go with her. That name is her name. Oh my gosh, she'll chew a doll. She'll chew a shoe. She'll chew anything. Oh, I hope he doesn't. But if he does, I said I would never watch another one. But if he does, we will watch another one. We watched the first one, Southernish, and we laughed so hard. And we couldn't help it. I mean, the lady got kicked off the jury. She's like, I'm not leaving without my eggs. And Judge Newman was like, your eggs? And the whole time, Judge Newman, his son was killed or died. I think he was killed, but I don't know if he died or was killed. But 2 weeks before the trial, Judge Newman's son, he lost his own son. And he sat on that trial and was a judge and was so professional. I mean, that judge is A1 in my book. He is really good. I mean, he retired, but right after that, pretty much right after that happened, right after that trial. But yeah, he had lost his son like 2 weeks before that. So for him to be on there, like, yeah, his son had just passed. Yeah. Okay, Mary Beth, I will be. Yeah, his son just passed. Yeah. And did you know that so weird thing about those two trials, what Alec Murdaugh has in common with Idaho 4 trial is both the prosecutors are lead guitarists in a band outside of like their work. Like they both play in the band. Like Bill Thompson plays the guitar, and I can't think of the prosecutor now for Alec Murdaugh, but they both do. They both play the guitar. I thought that was pretty cool. Can't think of his name. I'll think of it probably here in a minute. But thanks for being here with me tonight, guys. I appreciate it. I might do that new case tomorrow. Maybe I'll put something on like the community tab and see what you guys think, because it did look pretty interesting. It looked really interesting, actually. So yeah, they're both. I think they're both. I looked them both up, and I had like their music, but I don't think we could play it. Creighton Walters. That's it. Yeah, I like him a lot. He's cool. He's a cool guy. Plays the guitar. But thank you for being here tonight. I appreciate it. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful, Thursday? We're almost to Friday already, guys. Can you believe that? I can't believe that. I'll see you guys all tomorrow. Have a wonderful evening. Bye, guys.
Just like the street lights lit this town, like a fire in a blaze, gotta burn it down.